Okay, so I just wanted to, while I got the two of you on this morning, I just want to ask you a quick question about the page that I sent out yesterday. What really, I mean, as you can tell, um, sometimes and please give me some feedback on this. Sometimes the direction of our meetings kind of go towards a more of a kind of basic concepts. And while there is, the opportunity for massive success in mastering the fundamentals, um, of course, I want to make sure I'm providing the right content and the right, assistance to people that are, perhaps beyond, how to fill out an intake sheet for a new client or something, right? So,
Excuse me, Bill.
yeah,
Did you send that to us, or was that just the one that you posted in the WhatsApp group?
It's in the group, I think.
it was the second one that I posted in the WhatsApp group.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I can't see those. So when you have that, you have to send it to me.
What, by email? Or
Yeah, I'm sorry. I try to scan it, but I really can't see them. It's too small.
Okay. Let me, can I share it with you via Google Drive, or do you need it a different way?
You can share it. It doesn't matter. However you
Okay.
want.
I'm going to share, I'll share this with both of you guys. And I'm asking you this because I'm trying to create, obviously, it's a separate conversation to make sure that I am providing the right value to each of you. Twantis, do you want me to send it to your Gmail or a different email?
Actually, no, I can read it. I can read it on mine. It actually comes up.
Okay, perfect. So what I'm trying to do here is create a fourth quarter GPS that is applicable to agents at all production levels, and gives you kind of a bullet point summary, basically, of some of the foundational pieces that you should have in your business. And if you don't have in your business, then not another day should go by before they're in place, right? And once you have those things in place, really everything else becomes easier, right? It's more clear what you're supposed to do each day. We begin to automate a lot of the things that can be automated, and you have a whole lot more clarity on your goals and the path to get there. Did you, Tawantis, did you get a chance to review it at all?
I did. Actually, I looked at it, and when we were on another call, I was going through it and was listening to everything then too. So I appreciated it. First off, let me just say that thanks, because this is the kind of stuff, like, for someone like myself, like, I like this kind of structure, because this is the stuff that I was not able to do myself, to kind of have it all streamlined. So at least, even though I'm gonna take one at a time, it still shows me the outline and say, this is what you need to do. So that's just my thoughts.
Oh, but by the way, I want you to take it one at a time. That's the whole goal, is to say, hey, listing presentation. Let's be honest with ourselves. Have we been flying by the seat of our pants for the last 10 years? Or have we really thought out how we approach the listing presentation, and to determine, number one, how quickly can we make edits to it if with new market data, or to pivot to go more virtual in times like this, right? And is it not centered around like how many awards you've won and how many homes you've sold, but instead, does it really create an incredible client experience? And does it satisfy the things that they care the most about, right? Is it created? Is it digital? Is it not digital? Is it a kind of a booklet of some sort, right? Do you put it together the day you get the appointment, or do you have a stack of them ready to go out? I feel like if you have a stack of them ready to go out, right, or you got a pretty PDF and it's ready to be shot off to somebody, then what ends up happening is you're more eager to get more appointments, right? I used to keep a for sale sign right in my driveway. Like when I pulled into my driveway, and like straight ahead was like the wall of the garage, I'd have a for sale sign right there. And then every day I'd drive in, I'm like, what the hell is that thing doing there? Right? That needs to be in somebody's yard, right? It ain't doing me any good sitting in my garage. I'm not trying to sell my garage. I'm trying to sell somebody else's house.
Right.
Right.
It
And it
does
was
kind
like,
of give you a wake-up call. I went to put a sign in a yard last week,
yeah,
and so I had to move my signs around, and I moved one because it was a metal sign, and where I was putting signs, I had to have the plastic one. So it's not sitting where they normally sit, and it's every time I open my garage door, it's facing me, and it's like, that sign needs to be in somebody's yard. I mean,
exactly.
it
You have to
really
play
does.
these
It's
like
in your
mental
face
games
every
with
day.
yourself.
Say that again.
I said, you have to like kind of play these mental games with yourself
Yep.
to make sure that you're staying in line. That's why one of the things on there is a visual pipeline. Yeah, I know you can do it in Command. I know you can do it in some other spreadsheet. I'm suggesting that it's visual so that you can't avoid looking at it, right? You cannot avoid looking at it. So number one, I want to make sure that there's enough content on here that gives the space to grow. Like, is there enough? Is this too basic for somebody like you guys? Can you think of anything else that should be added for people that are entry level and people that are a little bit more accelerated?
I mean, from my standpoint, Bill, honestly, I don't think that like people normally even get this much, like first initially coming in, like even just into real estate at whatever level, you have to me, like, especially initially, right? Like
Yeah.
you're finishing school. And then after you finish school, it's like either, you try to figure out how to maneuver and get this, that, and the other, but there's never a defined like, hey, have this, have this, have this, have this, right?
Yep.
So you at least have your foundation set. And I think to me, this is kind of like a foundation that a lot of us that may not be where we want to be are missing to get there. There's no foundation. It's like we have to jump in and wing without having like the solidity of saying, hey, but I got all my systems in place. We don't have the systems, but to me, this is like that system, basic form enough to say, if you start here, now if you want to build out and add on whatever else that we're getting with all the other tools, it just seems like this is enough not to feel overwhelmed to me.
It's almost like if you're looking to start an activity, like you're new to real estate, or you're somebody like you who's coming to KW and kind of trying to figure out all the stuff that we offer, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you walk in and you're trying to like start a project, and it's like not on this list. That's
Right.
a clear indication it's not a priority, right? It's like, I'm trying to create an open house flyer. Why? Right.
Right.
The only reason you should be creating an open house flyer is if it's part of an open house strategy that you've defined as one of your top 3 lead generation sources, right? And I know that if I'm going to pick open houses, what I mean by success metric is what is the number that associates that with that topic so that I know I'm winning, right? I host one a week. That's what Bill Linkwald does. That's what Tawantis Monroe does. If we don't host one open house a week, something's going on. What is the standard?
Right.
Right. Jan, have you gotten a chance to open it yet?
I did. The one thing that you don't have on here that I wish had been pounded into me from day one is that where's the me time? Because that's a really important part of this business, and you do that at a very high level, but it's very difficult for new agents to, or existing agents, myself, I just spent a week at the beach. I went out one day. Part of that was because I could hardly walk, but I worked every single day I was at the beach, and learning strategies and finding teammates to help you that you trust and you can share a workload with when you want to take a vacation is really, really important. And learning that early on versus waiting until you've been in the business 3 or 4 years and trying to backdate it, as it were, you
Right.
know, that's a huge skill to learn. And I know that sounds, oh, well,
I completely agree with you. I drew this I drew this up just basically as a business document, but I think that was an oversight. I completely agree with you, because you can't just run on this. you're going to have to take care of yourself. Right.
And it's, it's hard when you're first starting a business, and, but if you implement those strategies in the very beginning of your business, it's much easier to, okay, every Saturday I take off regardless, but I have my team member, Pam, who understands me, knows my business, and can help me. And on Sundays when she takes off, I can be that person for her. It's really hard. And the longer you're in business, the harder it is to trust somebody to take care of your business. So it's better to learn these strategies early on versus later.
I could not agree more. I appreciate you sharing that. So what are some of those topics that you think are, what are some of the subheadings there, so to speak? Like
job sharing.
Oh guys, this part is like, so Jan, I'm so glad you brought that up. But let me tell you, so how do you, okay, when you say, for instance, we're just coming in, right? You're just coming in, and then you're trying to identify who is actually on your same, I think people have to have the same momentum to when they're partnering up. You know what I mean? In a sense, not necessarily that y'all have to work the exact same way, but I think there has to be the same type of thought and drive into getting where y'all want to go. Like there has to be that synchronicity between the two people. But initially getting in, you don't know that yet until, after a while you have to observe and check out folks and,
yeah, well, you have to you have the same level of urgency.
Well, if you don't know that that's something that you need to be thinking about and trying to implement in your business, it's not something that you really think about as a new agent until you're on the verge of burnout.
Yeah.
I have been at this 3 years, and there's only 1 or 2 agents in our office that I would trust with my business. And there are some people in my office that I thought I would trust. And as I got to know them better, I definitely wouldn't trust them because they don't do things, as Bill said, with the urgency that I do them. I want my clients taken care of today, right now. And,
it's almost like that's so important. Gosh, that's so important. I mean, by the time I let Pam start to run some of my business, honestly, I was like, here's 5 great clients, and I care so little about this that I don't even care if you end up at 3 closing tables. I just don't want to touch it. Right? I mean, it was like I waited too long, quite honestly. And
that's kind of where I'm at in my business is I really need some, because my daughter lives in Europe. I'm pretty much incommunicado with my clients for 10 days. Well, to be out of your business for 10 days and have nobody that will take care of your clients like you do while you're gone, that's tough.
I love that. What else? Thank you, by the way, for taking a moment. I think I'm hopeful that these are when we each share ideas that we can make our businesses better and adjust our mindset a bit, then we begin to, like, hopefully Tawantis will do this call and say, who should I be on the lookout for that can hop into, DocuSign for me when I'm tied up and, pull out a doc, right? Jan should be obviously thinking the same thing, right? And then, so, Tawantis might say, hey, part of my, routine is exercise. When I exercise, my brain feels a certain way, my body feels a certain way. Maybe that's something that Jan could say, hey, what does health look like for me, right? What can I do, even if it's like a 5-minute task that is fully focused on making myself more healthy? Like, I'll give you an example. Like, sometimes there's a guy in our neighborhood that does like some kind of catering, and like once a week or twice a week he puts out this little like pop-up menu restaurant thing. And so I sent it to my wife yesterday, and I probably have an eating disorder in some degree, right? I like to eat. And I sent her, I was like, I'll take the the steak baguette, and the egg rolls. And my wife's like, I just ordered you the steak baguette. And I called her, I'm like, but I want the egg rolls. She's like, no, I'm cutting you off. I'm your health accountability partner and you can't have 2 dinners. You get 1 dinner. Which one do you want?
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's like those little decisions that are going to add up. I certainly hope so, because I really wanted those damn egg rolls, right? And I have to make sacrifices if I want to make sacrifice. You know, if I want my body to change.
Right.
Right. What else? What other things outside of the business can we take note of?
Obviously, health. Um,
Do we have on there where the continuing, let me see on here if the continuing education was actually on
No,
here.
it's not on there. I just wrote, the person who handles my business when I am away is my primary health goal is, my primary learning goal is.
Yeah, okay.
but that's outside the business. You need a, something for CEs and learning inside your business as well.
Okay, gotcha. So that should be, I mean, that's skill development, to so to speak.
Skill,
Okay.
yeah.
I mean, we could add something else, right? I will master the following new skill by, and then a deadline. Okay, cool. What else outside of the business?
What about the nurturing, like, let me look on here for partnerships and stuff like that. How do you do, or inside of your business, right? There, like how we have these mastermind sessions, when you consider that also like a part of someone's development, coming into it, just learning how to get yourself around and surrounded with other individuals that you know are like literally trying to go exactly where you want to go with everything. Is that kind of like something, you know what I mean, you guys?
Yeah, I mean, my first reaction to that is that's exactly what participation in the productivity coaching program is all about.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, so, but I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, Tawantis, you're talking more about a more intimate mastermind group that you can participate with for like-minded individuals and not 50 people, correct?
Well, yeah, in a sense, because see what it does is that sometimes, like, of course, we all have a certain group. Like we have a group right now, right, Bill? This is our basic group. This is like your standard, right? Well, it's not standard because it is still something that someone reaches out to do. But then there could be another level of that standard, right? That even wants to do more. And that doesn't necessarily just mean just with the learning. That could be like with, hey, these are individuals that even want to go buy their own properties. They want to literally build out their own, like how you were saying, pipelines for other investments. You know, how we should think about other ways that we can contribute to our real estate career. Like for me, I'm not looking at Mastermind PC coaching as just PC coaching to say, okay, this is your little outline. No, I want to look at it like how you've been giving us like these nuggets all the time about, hey, you guys need to try to see how you might even want to go. And when you talk to other people about KW, this is passive income. So I'm like gradually as I learn, want to be, oh, I'm in here. This is the changes I'm making in my life. This is how much money I'm making as a result of doing what I love, but also gravitating other people to see, I'm going to build out other platforms to go from, right? So the mastermind groups that are even more than the regular mastermind, like how Jan was saying, like even more.
Yeah. So would that be something like, you know, I plan to build an additional income stream by something like that?
I love that, because that's the whole point, is us for open up ourselves, not to think that real estate is just this one thing, because you guys are showing us that no, you can have several other ways that you really can try to make your life different for you and your future, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, more than develop an additional income stream, it'd probably be how my business can fund, how will my business fund the life of my dreams, right? Because that's, that, and to some people, having another income stream is not important to them.
yeah, right.
That's why I did put that at the top. I am committing to closing blank units so that, right? So that I can, pay off debt, buy a new car, invest in a real estate property, that kind of thing. Maybe that wasn't so clear, but do you think that is sufficient or not really?
Well, because see, that is similar, because it's still, but it goes in line of more like, okay, that's like your personal goal, right?
Yeah.
And I'm just talking about like when I was initially making a comment, though, was more so like, hey, but this is also like another level of an intimate group that does this and applies this of what we're doing to actually get to other levels of this, that, and the other within the whole community. You know what I mean? So it's not just a convo, but no, we're going to buy this right here, and this is what we're going to do it. Everybody's going to do it. Something of that nature is what I was thinking, more so lines of, even if it's not an investment property, I'm saying like, hey, our goal is to try to have another 3 people that we talk to about KW, or we make us a marketing video about KW, and let's see how we could even influence those in different ways to even say, okay, look, I want to do this other as an avenue of income as well with my real estate, right?
Yeah, I like that. What I was thinking about this, I actually saw an example of this morning, but what about, and I've been mediocre at this, I'll be honest, but you guys know the 7 circles, right? My finances, my spiritual life, my physical health, my personal life, my key relationships, business, and my job. What if you say, I will have a mentor in each of these arenas by?
I love that.
So maybe your mentor for your finances is the local real estate investment group. Maybe your mentor for your health is your a personal trainer. Maybe your mentor for your personal life is a relationship coach or something like that, right? Somebody that basically doesn't have your blind spots, and you can develop and begin a relationship with them that will make you better in those arenas.
Yeah. I honestly like love that at this point, at least in my life, you guys, because I think like iron sharpens iron, and the more that you're with someone who really has done like 10 times more than what you thought you were going to be able to, it can only enhance you, even with the uncomfortable part of having to be accountable for what we have to do to get there. So I love that idea of having a mentor in every area.
Yeah, I love that too. Okay, perfect. Anything else that's on your mind? What do you guys, what are you seeing out there in the marketplace? What is important that we chat about for a couple minutes?
Just, better conversations about people who are holding on to their money and how to get them on board with you and staying on board with you versus, being all over the place, because it's so exciting right now. Everybody wants to be an investor, but if they're going to spend their money, you definitely want them spending it with you, and how to, maybe keep people on the straight and narrow there.
Okay.
So that, they don't get sucked in by some wholesaler or some other agent. I had somebody ask me the other day, well, can you promise me you can sell my property for this? And you know, because I really want to buy this. And, you know, I have these conversations day in and day out. And, you know, the next thing I know, they went off and they bought a property with somebody else. They got screwed. They listened to some other person. You know, I have an investor that I've written several contracts with. He let somebody talk him into buying a house that was a burnout in a bad neighborhood and in a really bad time. And if he'd had just stayed the course, I could have helped him. I could have helped him found a better house at a better price, a much better house.
Right.
So, and it's not just investors. So I just want you to clarify that. It's everybody. They're all over the place, and they're twitchy and, oh, I can't wait to see what this market's going to do.
Yeah, I think that really comes down to, and correct me if I'm wrong, I haven't, you know, intentionally, I chose not to go the investor route intentionally, and I know both of you guys have.
But what I'm saying is, it's not just investors. I have a $500,000 to $750,000 client that's been waiting a year and a half for the market to fall. And I begged them to buy a house and explain to them that the market's not falling. And, you know, yesterday they said, you know, year over year, we're up 10%, which is exactly what I told them 2 years ago. But, you know, and it was only like 7 or 8% then.
You know, I think it kind of comes down, correct me if I'm wrong. I know this is a bit of a blunt way of responding, but it's like, you just got to know your facts, and you got to be confident enough in your presentation, and you come with the right approach, which I believe we all would agree is an educational approach. And when somebody is willing to go off and like ignore all the consultation and love and kind educational approach that you have delivered, and they go buy some random burnout through some other, you know, investor, whoever, that's like, you can't fix everyone that's stupid, right? You just have to get in front of a lot of people.
I guess that's what I have to remember, is I can't fix stupid, and I need to put that in front of me, you know, so I can look at it every day and say, can't fix stupid, I can't fix stupid, because that's what it is. I mean, these people could have bought this amazing house for $500,000, and now if they tried to buy this house, it would be $700,000, because prices in that neighborhood have just gone up exponentially. And it's like, I told them the market was not going to fall, and if it did, it would just dip just a tiny bit, you know, right. And then it's going to start coming right back up because we have no inventory. And back then we had 4 months worth of inventory. Now we have 1. So, you know,
sometimes you would say that, like the burnout situation, that in my opinion is a guy that's just impulsive, right?
Yeah.
And you're not gonna be able to fix that. When you're dealing with somebody like maybe somebody who ultimately got priced out, you know, presumably they made an educated decision based on what they heard from you and what their personal life, financial life was going on at the moment, right? So they're going to have to live with the consequences of that. And I believe that you will love life more if you can leave that exchange and say, I made a damn good presentation to that guy, and I came into the relationship with the right attitude, and then they're free to make whatever the decision they make, right? I mean, I've left plenty of closing tables where I said to myself, I'm not really sure why they bought that house, to be honest, right? But it ain't my house, right?
Right.
I made sure they got a really good price, and I made sure that they, you know, had a contract that protected them, and I made sure that, you know, all of the different, you know, minutia during the contract worked out exactly like it should have. However, I got no interest in living in West Top, but something does, right?
Gotcha.
So it's, you know, people are going to make decisions that sometimes don't make sense to you. You know, it's kind of like that woman at the very beginning of my business. She said, Bill, some people like salmon and some people don't like salmon. Right?
Yeah.
And I said, man, I'll probably be saying that the rest of my life. That's freaking brilliant.
But I guess, you know, you're right. It's true. And I I just have such a hard time because they're so twitchy right now. And, you know, I find people just jumping off the deep end right now. And it's
well,
frustrating.
the thing is there's no problem, and this is a concept that's applicable to all of us, especially top producers, right? There is no problem that cannot be overcome in real estate with
getting another clients.
Right. So like, if you got one that's impulsive, find another one, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
I do listen to you.
Of pieces of paper of people that I was courting, like literally this big. And I had so many people that I couldn't keep any of it straight. And so I had to have a sheet of paper to remind me of all the things that I had done with that person and who they even were, right? Because I knew that they weren't all going to close.
Right.
And so the strength is in the numbers. All right, I'm going to